Hey YouTube, Jim here. Welcome to Top 10 Archive. Life hacks are intended to make our days easier and tasks less complicated. So how is it that there are hacks out there that either serve no purpose or exist solely to harm? The internet. That's how. Now to save you the hassle and headache, we've compiled 10 life hacks that you should undoubtedly steer clear of. But here's something you shouldn't steer clear of: the subscribe button. And also, click the bell to be automatically notified whenever we upload a new video. Number 10. Toothpaste Mints. No, just don't do this. Do you even know what happens if you consume too much toothpaste? Does diarrhea, tremors, vomiting, difficulty breathing, or a heart attack sound like fun to you?
Yeah, sure.
Well then sure, go ahead and freeze toothpaste to make a poor man's after-dinner mint. Otherwise, ignore Gemma Stead of Ashton-under-Lyne, Lancashire, and her recipe for disaster. Thankfully, at least, Carly pops in with a tip to eat only one very thin mint. But do you really want to find out what your tolerance for toothpaste consumption is? Number 9. Jellyfish Sting Relief. So, this may be a rare life hack for most of us, but should you find yourself on the receiving end of a jellyfish sting, try not to emulate that episode of Friends that many people swear by.
Well, there's really only one thing you can do.
What? What is it?
You're gonna have to pee on it.
Urinating on a jellyfish sting is not a guaranteed pain reliever, and it's incredibly unsanitary. Since the composition of urine changes from person to person, how it affects your sting is also going to change. In fact, it's very likely that being urinated on will sting more, not just on the sting, but deep down in your soul. Number 8. Crayola Eyeliner. Just because it works doesn't always mean it's a viable life hack. Case in point, how people use Crayola pencils as a cheap replacement for eyeliner. There's a reason why they're not marketing them as skin pencils, and Crayola even spoke out about the strange practice, pointing out that just because they're non-toxic doesn't mean they're meant for personal application. Echoing Crayola's concern is LensCrafters clinical director Dr. Marc Jacot, OD, who warns of the potential for irritation. The real danger is bacterial growth, which makeup is designed to prevent. Pencils? Not so much. Number 7. Freezing batteries. It almost sounds ingenious. If something's cold, we know that its activity level drops. Put that into practice on a battery, and you might assume that a cold battery would lose a charge much slower than a warm battery. On the contrary, though, cold temperatures can be detrimental to the battery's lifespan. According to Energizer, the contacts can erode if condensation forms on them, and the seal may become unstable. Number 6. The Wendy's hack. Food life hacks are always popular, especially if it's one that'll get you free food. But as they say, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Sometime around 2012, a post on Facebook and Twitter made the rounds, supporting earlier claims that if you went to Wendy's and said that you were lost, broke, and hungry, a hidden corporate policy guaranteed you a free meal. While you'll probably get sympathy, you also risk crossing the wrong manager and finding yourself tossed onto the street, because there is no secret Wendy's philanthropist policy. Number 5. Heating the spoon. You've waited all day to come home and dig into that frozen dairy dessert in your freezer, to the point where you can feel its coolness melt in your mouth. You pop open the lid and jam your spoon into it, only to be met with great resistance. Blasted! How does one dig into a frozen treat? Then it hits you. You could put the spoon in the microwave. Well, you can, but you really shouldn't. Unless you want a discolored spoon and a light show to remember. A much simpler, albeit less dramatic way is to run the spoon under hot water. Number 4. The apple cider vinegar diet. Any diet not posed to you by a nutritionist that completely eradicates solid foods from your daily plan is probably not the best. In April of 2017, a story circulated that claimed a Cornell student lost 37 pounds just by drinking apple cider vinegar and popping supplements. Since good journalism is a dying art, CNN picked up the story and ran it as fact, despite that it was actually an ad for Refresh Garcinia Cambogia, a diet supplement. So, is an apple cider vinegar diet a good method for weight loss? According to the Mayo Clinic,
No.
With possible side effects of throat irritation and an adverse reaction to certain drugs and insulin, this diet life hack is one you'll want to skip. Number 3. Seatbelt Bottle Opener. We can understand if you're on the road and have a cold sarsaparilla you're looking to crack into. But from what we've seen, this life hack is very much so directed toward opening beers in your car, which you probably plan on driving or are already driving. Yes, you can open a beer bottle with your seatbelt. It definitely works. But should you? Unless you're at a tailgate party, having an open bottle of liquor with you in the vehicle is just a recipe for disaster. And if you're not deterred yet, know that doing it too many times can damage your seatbelt. Number 2. A simpler grilled cheese. Isn't making grilled cheese just the pits? Wouldn't you like a method that makes melting cheese and toasting bread even easier? Well, in your desperate search for a new technique, should you come across one that suggests you turn your toaster on its side, ignore it. While it sounds plausible, the issue comes with the unpredictability of the cheese. As it melts, it drips down to the heating element, creating the potential for a really nice campfire. Many have tried it. Many have made homemade napalm instead. Number 1. Charge your phone in the microwave. There's something about ovens being kind of dangerous that some young people just can't seem to wrap their heads around. Around 2013, a life hack was making its ways around the internet claiming you could recharge your smartphone in the microwave. People believed it, and wouldn't you know, you can't. Videos of phones exploding and melting in microwaves surfaced all over message boards and Facebook, and it even got worse when, in 2014, the release of the iPhone 6 prompted the circulation of Wave Charge, an alleged feature that allowed for microwavable charging. Turns out, microwaves are only good at heating things up. I know, who would have guessed, right? Thanks for watching. Know of any other life hacks you shouldn't try? Or perhaps you have a story about trying one on this list? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to give this video a like and, wow, there are some more archive videos you can watch right now.